Society is a dynamic system and it will keep on changing, and therefore amendments will keep on coming. But the basic framework has stuck. That speaks volumes about his capabilities. A man's foresight. When something is told about, it remains maybe valid for one generation, maybe 30 to 40 years. But even after more than 75 years of Indian independence, his constitution's legacy remains. It is only amended. Therefore, I call it a big visionary. And let us commemorate his birth today with utmost zeal. Another keyword that was given to me was never settle. That means always keep on doing small incremental improvement in everybody. If we just keep on improving ourselves by 1%, probably by the end of the year we will be improving by more than 300%. And if you can imagine, if we just follow this principle in our life, where we will stand. Probably everybody will be a better self on the very next day. And if a great person like him can motivate us like this, we must salute him, we must regard him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, to learn more about our beloved Baba Saheb, his life and mission, I would like to invite Shri R.P. Singh, sir, General Secretary MSSEWA, to grace the stage with short speech.
Second.
Thank you, Amit. I begin to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us in this celebration. Before we delve into Baba Saheb's monumental contribution, let us briefly reflect on his remarkable journey. Born on April 14, 1891 in Madhya Pradesh, Maho, Baba Saheb's early life was marked by severe discrimination and hardship. Yet, despite these challenges, his father recognized the transformative power of education and ensured that young beings received it. What follows was an educational journey that remained unprecedented in Indian history. His academic achievements include doctoral degrees from Columbia University and London School of Economics, bar at law from Gray's Inn, multiple masters in diverse fields. This exceptional educational background was not merely personal accomplishments, it was the forge in which he shaped his vision for a modern and equitable India. My dear friends, when we speak Dr. Ambedkar today, we often focus primarily on his role as a chief architect of Indian Constitution. While his role was indeed pivotal, we must also recognize that Baba Saheb was one of the most economic thinkers as well. His doctoral thesis at the London School of Economics, The Problem of Rupee, Its Origin and Its Solution, demonstrated his exceptional understanding of monetary economy. This work was so influential that it formed the creation of Reserve Bank of India. In fact, many scholars acknowledge that the conceptual framework for RBI emerged directly from Baba Saheb's research. As his being the executive member of Viceroy Executive Council in the pre-independent government, he introduced groundbreaking reforms in agriculture finance. He advocated for nationalization of land, state-owned in key industries, and an economic structure that would ensure fair distribution of resources. Baba Saheb understood that political democracy without economic democracy would remain incomplete. He famously stated, "Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it a social democracy." What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as a principle of life. In practical terms, he proposed state control of key industries, to prevent monopolistic practices, land reforms to empower agriculture workers, strong labor protection laws, public investment in education and healthcare. Many of these ideas found their way in India's economic 5-year plan and continue to influence our economic policies today. When we discuss India's mixed economic model, we are essentially discussing the economic framework that Baba Sahib envisioned. Ladies and gentlemen, history presented Baba Sahib with an opportunity that comes rarely in the life of a nation. The opportunity to draft a constitution that would define the destiny of 1/6 of the humanity. Journey to becoming the chairman of the drafting committee was neither simple nor predestined. Initially appointed as one of member of Constituent Assembly, Baba Sahib's exceptional legal mind, profound understanding of constitutional system worldwide, and unwavering commitment to justice soon made him the natural choice to lead his historic endeavor. On August 29, 1947, the Constituent Assembly established a drafting committee with Baba Sahib as chairman. This was not merely an administrative appointment, but a recognition of his unparalleled vision for a democratic India. During the period, he worked tirelessly, studying constitution from around the world and forging consensus among diverse perspectives. The result was a document that Justice H.R. Khanna would later describe as the conscience of the nation. Let me highlight some of the Baba Sahib's most significant constitutional contributions. The fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution under Articles 12 to 35. Baba Sahib ensured that individual rights were not merely aspiration but legal enforcement. Article 17, which abolished untouchability, represents his determination to eradicate social discrimination through legal means. The directive principle of state policies, as enshrined under Articles 36 to 51. These principles, while not enforceable in the code, provides a roadmap for governance and reflects Baba Sahib's vision of social and economic justice. Article 32, often called the heart and soul of the Constitution by Baba Sahib himself. This article guarantees the right to constitutional remedy. That means ensuring that rights remain real, not rhetorical. The federal structure with a strong center, Baba Sahib crafted a unique federal system that balanced regional autonomy with national unity. A structure that has enabled India to remain united despite its immense diversity. His foresight in creating provisions for affirmative action has provided opportunity for historical marginalized communities to participate in education, employment, and political representation. At a time when many democracies are still restricting voting rights, Baba Sahib insisted on one person, one vote, regardless of education, regardless of property, and regardless of social status. What makes these achievements even more remarkable is that Baba Sahib accomplished them while facing persistent discrimination. Even as he drafted provisions ensuring equality, he personally experienced its absence. Yet, his vision remained untainted by bitterness. He built a constitutional framework not for revenge, but for a social justice. Esteemed audience, at the heart of Baba Sahib's life mission was his unwavering commitment to social justice. He recognized that formal legal equality will remain hollow without substantive social equality. He led numerous movements, including the Mahar Satyagraha for access to water from public sources and temple entry movements, challenging discriminatory practices not through violence but through democratic protest. Baba Sahib understood that true democracy requires the annihilation of caste. In his words, democracy is not merely a form of government, it is primarily a mode of associated living, of conjoint communicated experiences. It is essentially an attitude of respect and reverence towards fellow citizens. One of the most forward-thinking aspects of Baba Sahib's vision was his emphasis on women's rights. At a time when gender equality was rarely discussed in political discourse, he made it a central of its social philosophy. In his scholarly work, The Rise and Fall of Hindu Women, Baba Sahib traced how women in ancient India enjoy relatively higher status before religious and social practices curtailed their freedom. His advocacy for women's rights was not merely theoretical. It translated into concrete constitutional provisions and legislative proposals. As a law minister in independent India, Baba Sahib drafted the Hindu Code Bill, which sought to grant women equal inheritance rights, right to divorce, protection against polygamy. The bill faced such fierce opposition that it ultimately resigned from the cabinet when it was not passed in its entirety. But later, the bill came in force in parts. His famous statement, "I measure the progress of the community by which the degree women has achieved," was not merely rhetoric, but a principle that guided his legislative efforts. The constitution that he drafted included Article 15, subsection 3, which empowers the state to make special provisions for women and children, equal pay for equal work principles, maternity benefits, and equal rights in the matter of property. Today, when we see women leading in various fields, from science to sports, from business to governance, we are witnessing the realization of his vision. Dear friends, Baba Sahib's vision extended to India's industrial development as well. Having witnessed the industrial revolution impact in the West, he recognized that India's future would be shaped by its approach to industrialization. As a member of Viceroy's Executive Council in charge of Labour Department from 1942 to 1946, he introduced numerous reforms that laid the foundation for India's industrial relation framework. His contribution include establishing the principle of tripartite consultation involving government, employer, and workers, setting up the Chief Labour Commissioners Organization, creating employment exchange, introducing 8-hour working, establishing minimum wage regulation, implementing social security measures for industrial workers. These measures were revolutionary for their time and continue to protect millions of workers even today. Baba Sahib also understood that industrial development must be strategic. He advocated for public sector enterprises in critical sectors, development core industries to reduce foreign dependence, heavy investment in scientific and technical education, balanced regional industrial developments. His vision was of an industrialized India, where workers had dignity, fair wages, and social security. When we see our public sector enterprise like MECON contributing to national development, we are witnessing his vision in action. As we look toward India's future, his principles offer us an invaluable compass. Let me highlight those that remain exceedingly necessary for our continued development. Education. Education as emancipation. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. In today's knowledge economy, this principle is even relevant than ever. Our continued investment in educational infrastructure, scholarship programs, and skill development initiatives must be our highest priority. Baba Sahib emphasized that democracy requires not just constitutional provisions but a constitutional culture. He defined constitutional morality as a paramount reverence for the form of constitution. At a time when democratic institutions worldwide face challenges, this principle reminds us that democratic processes are as important as democratic outcomes. Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. This principle reminds us that economic growth without social cohesion is unsustainable. Our development model must prioritize inclusion and reduce disparities. Baba Sahib advocated for reason, critical thinking, and evidence-based decision-making. In an era of misinformation, this principle urges us to base public policies on facts, not fiction. His emphasis on women's rights reminds us that no nation can progress while leaving half of its population behind. Gender parity in education, employment, leadership must remain a core developmental goal. Let me share some concrete examples of how these principles can be shaped India's future. Imagine an India where every child, regardless of birth, receives worldwide education, where government schools have infrastructure comparable to private institutions. This would fulfill Baba Saheb's dream of education as of a great equalizer. Visualize an industrial landscape where Indian companies leading in cutting-edge technologies, where our engineering graduates create globally competitive products, where our public sector enterprises develop technologies that are exported worldwide. This would realize Baba Saheb's vision of industrial self-reliance. And vision communities where social barriers has been dismantled, where interlining, intermarriage and social interaction are based on human connection, not caste calculation. Where everyone has equal access to public space, resources and opportunities. This would manifest Baba Saheb's dream of social democracy. Picture a society where women's representation in parliament, corporate boardroom, scientific research and all spheres matching their proportion in the population. Where gender no longer determine educational investment, career prospect or leadership opportunities. This would fulfill Baba Saheb's vision of gender equality or gender justice. Imagine a citizenry that knows its constitutional right and responsibilities, where constitutional principle guides public discourse, where dissent is expressed democratically and differences are resolved constitutionally. This would realize Baba Saheb's vision of constitutional morality. Dear friends, as we celebrate Baba Saheb's 134th birth anniversary, let us move beyond ceremonial remembrance to a meaningful action. Let each of us, how am I advancing Baba Saheb's vision in my sphere of influence? Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, as I conclude, the Constitution he gave us is not merely a legal document, but a social manifesto, a blueprint for transforming India from a hierarchical society to an egalitarian one. Each article, each provision reflects his extraordinary vision of a nation, where liberty, equality and fraternity are not mere words, but lived realities. When Baba Saheb spoke of liberty, he means not just freedom from foreign rule, but freedom from social oppression. When he advocated equality, he envisioned not just formal legal equality, but a substantive social and economic equality. When he emphasized fraternity, he dreamed of a society bound not by accident of birth, but by bonds of shared humanity. Friends, Baba Saheb's life teaches us that no barrier is insurmountable. His journey from a marginalized child to an architect of Indian Constitution is a testament to the power of education, courage and conviction. He reminds us that nation building is not just about laws or policies, but about creating a society where every individual, regardless of caste, gender or background, can thrive. As we leave this hall today, let us carry not just memories of a celebration, but commitments in action. Let us pledge to build the India that Baba Saheb envisioned, an India where dignity is universal, opportunity is accessible, and justice is unfailing. In his immortal words, I like a religion that teaches liberty, equality, and fraternity. Let these principles guide our nation's journey forward. Thank you. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat, Prabhupada Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Let's take a moment to ponder over these profound words of Baba Saheb. Cultivation of mind should be the ultimate aim of human existence. This quote embodies Baba Saheb's conviction in the transformative power of education and intellectual enlightenment. He saw education as a beacon of hope, liberating individuals from the cycles of ignorance and oppressions, and laying the foundation for a more enlightened and harmonious society. Now, with this, I request R.S. Raman sir to please present a souvenir to our esteemed dignitaries, Shri Dixit, Director Project, in recognition of his invaluable contribution. As we proceed with our ceremony, now I request Shri Bairagi sir, Senior GM, BP and PE, to kindly present a souvenir to our esteemed dignitaries, Shri J.K. Jha sir. As we near the end of our ceremony, I request Shri Vikas Babu sir, Senior Manager FSPD, Joint Secretary MSSEWA, to express our vote of thanks.
Thank you, Amit. नमस्कार। आज के इस पावन अवसर पर डॉक्टर भीमराव जी की जयंती पर हम सभी एकत्र हुए हैं। यह मेरे लिए अत्यंत सम्मान की बात है कि मुझे आप सभी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करने का अवसर मिला। सबसे पहले आज के प्रोग्राम के चीफ गेस्ट हमारे चेयरमैन महोदय का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, जो किसी कारणवश से आज हमारे बीच आ नहीं पाए। उसके बाद मैं हमारे डायरेक्टर प्रोजेक्ट सर का अभिनंदन करता हूँ। उन्होंने बड़ी खूबसूरती से एडुकेट, ऑर्गेनाइज और एजिटेट को वॉवल से ऐड करके जोड़ के बताया कि अगर आई एंड यू, बस इनमें आई एंड यू का कमी है। अगर हम आई एंड यू मिल जाएं और ये फॉलो करें तो हम क्या नहीं अचीव कर सकते। इसके बाद मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ हमारे डायरेक्टर कमर्शियल सर का। उन्होंने डॉक्टर साहब का, डॉक्टर भीमराव अम्बेडकर का, जो बहुत लोग नहीं जानते हैं, उन पहलुओं पर भी ध्यान दिया कि उन्होंने वुमेन्स के लिए क्या किया, डॉक्टर साहब ने क्या कदम उठाए। उसमें मैं कि डॉक्टर साहब 22 सराय की एग्जीक्यूटिव काउंसिल के मेंबर थे 1942 से 1946, बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस, और वो लेबर मेंबर थे, काउंसिल में लेबर मेंबर थे। सो उस काउंसिल में रहते हुए उन्होंने जो चीज़ें इम्प्लीमेंट की, जैसे मिनिमम वेजेस, उन्होंने लेबर के लिए मिनिमम वेजेस का इम्प्लीमेंट किया, इक्वल पे फॉर इक्वल वर्क, so there should not be any discrimination on the basis of gender. Health insurance, working hours from 14 to 8 रिड्यूस किया गया। उन्होंने 3-8 का कंसेप्ट लाया, 8 आवर्स फॉर वर्किंग, 8 आवर्स फॉर स्लीप। and 8 hours for family. इसके बाद उन्होंने मैटरनिटी लीव फॉर वुमेन का कंसेप्ट लाया है और ये सारी चीज़ें आई थिंक 43 में इम्प्लीमेंट की हैं। 1942 में उन्होंने सजेस्ट किया और 43 में ये सारी चीज़ें बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस इम्प्लीमेंट की। सो वो फ्रीडम फाइट तो चल ही रहा था, साथ में वो समाज को भी एक शेप देने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा उनका जो मेजर जो कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा जिस पे नज़र नहीं जाती है उन लोगों का, वो है पावर ग्रिड का कंसेप्ट लाए, डैम बिल्डिंग कंसेप्ट लाए एंड आरबीआई की, जैसे बहुत लोगों को पता भी होगा कि आरबीआई का जो कंसेप्ट है उनका थीसिस था द प्रॉब्लम विद द रूपी, उसके बेसिस पे आरबीआई का कंसेप्ट आया। तो इससे आगे बढ़ते हुए आज के कार्यक्रम में जो विचार साझा किए गए हैं उन्होंने हमें एक बार फिर से डॉक्टर अंबेडकर जी के महान विचारों और योगदान की याद दिलाई। शिक्षा, समान अधिकार और सामाजिक न्याय के लिए उनका संघर्ष आज भी हम सभी के लिए प्रेरणादायक है। इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने के लिए हमारे सभी आयोजक, वक्ताओं, वॉलंटियर्स और सभी सहयोगियों का भी धन्यवाद करते हैं। हमारे मेकॉन के सेक्शंस टीएसीडी, एस्टेट, एचआर, फाइनेंस और कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन का भी योगदान को एड्रेस करते हैं। अंत में मैं आप सभी उपस्थित जन का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, जिन्होंने अपना कीमती समय निकालकर इस आयोजन को सफल बनाया है। आइए हम सभी मिलकर डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के विचारों को अपने जीवन और कार्यों में उतारें और एक समतामूलक समाज के निर्माण में योगदान दें। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Now, I request our dignitaries and audience to kindly stand up in respect of our national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जाने तब शुभ आशीष माने गावे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you, everyone. Now, I request everyone to kindly join us for the lunch at the dining hall. Thank you for being part of this memorable event. Thank you. Jai Hind.